Hello, and welcome to Just Three Workplace Gurus. We're back. It's a podcast about the real world of work. I'm Amy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Vivian.
Welcome. Today, we're talking about the weird and wild jobs that we have had in our past. This is guaranteed to give you a lot of laughs. Let's start with what our version of the gig economy was back in our days. I used to ride my bike around our neighborhood and deliver newspapers, also having to collect subscription money. Mike, what did you have to do?
I'm thinking my first gig economy job was in college. I sold Tupperware for about a year, which is very, oh God.
That's a long time.
Did you have like actual Tupperware parties?
Yes.
I
thought that, I thought that because I was young and I was kind of, a cute guy, that I'd have all these women wanting to have parties and I'd make a ton of money. And but I had a lot of Tupperware. And until recently, I'm going to say I still had a lot of Tupperware, but I'd have to go through the kitchen, but I'm pretty sure it's all gone now. Like it's, but it was fun. I mean, I had a good time doing it. Like, I think I got invited to a party and I thought that was a cool thing. I can make money doing that. Why can't I do that? I should do that.
But wasn't it with like a bunch of housewives that you would throw parties for?
That was the point.
Well, I thought that it would.
That
and
seems
then
weird for a college kid.
ended up being all my friends. Like, it was just,
Did anybody buy the Tupperware?
How much Tupperware can your friends buy in college? Say that again.
But question, was it a multi-level? Like, was it a pyramid scheme Tupperware or was it just straight Tupperware?
Yeah.
So did you recruit people into your, like, because I did multi-level.
No.
I'll talk about that in a minute. No?
No.
So did you not
I
make
mean,
money?
I don't remember ever recruiting anybody because I think I was the dealer, so to speak, at Cal Poly.
The Tupperware dealer. I love it.
I'll tell you what my favorite. This is bad. This is a story about how bad I am. My favorite thing was to go over to my manager or whoever, whatever it was, to her house to get all my stuff and then take it home and sit on the floor in the living room and sort out, to all the people, like you got to sort out this person bought this and this person bought that or whatever. It was insane. Like, what was I thinking? Anyway.
Now you have Amazon.
That was my gig.
Did you make good money?
No.
I always worried
spent most of it.
I was just going to say, I always worry about joining those types of things because I feel like I would spend more money than make money.
Yes.
I wonder if that still exists, though. If Tupperware parties.
Yes, it does.
It does?
Oh,
yeah,
parties?
but I think, like I saw Tupperware at Costco.
Yeah, they still sell it.
So
Target
they're now
has it.
selling, like retail, I think. I don't really know how it works anymore.
But
that
Tupperware,
sort of
because
thing
I know
is
there's
over.
other, like, adult items that people have parties for, apparently.
Yes.
And sell that way.
Yeah.
And that's apparently wildly successful. Never done it, but just saying. But I wonder if this concept of like community-based selling, like in person, is a thing.
The comedian Leanne Morgan,
Uh-huh.
who's from the South somewhere, I can't remember. She started out in comedy selling jewelry because she would just tell stories about her family and everybody thought she was really funny, and she'd sell a lot of jewelry because they laughed. And then it turned into a career as a comedian. So yeah, you never know how it's going to turn.
Well, I'm sorry to burst everybody's bubble, but apparently, according to AI, classic Tupperware home parties are mostly a thing of the past. Following the company's Chapter 11 bankruptcy and subsequent acquisition by Party Products LLC, the direct sales model has largely shifted to the internet. Ah, well. Interesting. Now, I have to tell you, I sold encyclopedias for a day.
A day?
One day.
I can tell you, you go to these orientations, fresh out of college, I'm like, I could sell encyclopedias. How hard can that be? And you go to the orientation and they make it sound so easy. And this is door to door. I don't want to date myself here. And there was still a thing called an
We're dated.
encyclopedia. Anyway, and I was like, this is so easy. And I went on my first call. And I was like, please don't be home. Please don't be home. And they opened the door, and I was like, hi. Anyway, and the door slammed in my face as quickly as it opened. And I just had a day of literal door slamming in my face. And anyway, so I didn't last very long there. So then from there,
So you didn't actually sell any encyclopedias?
No, I was a complete failure. And then I think a couple weeks later, I was selling ties in a men's clothing store. And I knew nothing about ties or men's fashion for that matter. And, you know, I thought I was doing great. And I was like pairing this with that. And I'm like, oh, purple would look great there. And the manager basically came up to me and was like, get out. This is not your calling. I'm like, okay, nope, not a problem.
God, you know, one of my first my first that wasn't really full time. My first full time job in college, I had to work at some point. Like things changed, I had to work, and my first job was dishwashing 2 days a week.
I did that too. That was my
That is
college
the
job.
worst job I have ever done in my life. I have great sympathy for all dishwashers. I do. And
However,
I don't know, like I hated, but I have to say, and I remember when I called my sister, Melissa, to tell her that I had gotten a job and what I was doing, she said, her response was, "Wow, you didn't have to do that." like it was so menial. So
Yeah.
I was going to quit. I was done. Because it's just wet and gross and stinky and
smelly.
And the day I decided to quit, in the middle of my shift, the general manager peeked his head into the dish room and said, "Mike, come see me after your shift. We're going to promote you to a busboy." And that was the end of that. And
Wow.
So
Well,
you know.
I had the opposite experience, because I also, that was my first college job was washing dishes. And I walked in there, I'm like, because there is a certain smell that's kind of like
Yes.
disgusting. And I was like, oh, this is going to be horrible, until my friend Rohan Gregory showed up. And Rohan is like part elf, part human, and he made it fun. And we would sing songs, and we were like, like we turned it into challenges. And I had the best time until he stopped. And then I was like, oh God. So then I became the a stagehand, like manager in my college. So when we had, it was Oberlin Conservatory of Music. And so when guest performers would come, and these are like famous musicians, I'd be on the crew that set up the stage for everybody. So
Oh, nice.
I wasn't terribly experienced, and I might have bid my way up to the job. I'm not sure. But anyway, so there we are moving 9-foot concert grand pianos. And if you don't wear the right shoes, the piano doesn't go anywhere, but you slide backwards. And so that, so there I am trying my hardest to move the 9-foot Steinway grand piano. And you don't have much time because you got to clear the stage for the next thing that's happening and whatnot. And I was like at my own comedy show, and the audience is now hysterical laughing. Anyway, somebody finally came on with sneakers and something grippy, and then it moves very easily. But they didn't show me the door. That was good. I stayed on that one for a while.
Amy, you have to talk about your restaurant experience.
Oh, well, first of all, I was just going to say, I think everybody needs to work in a restaurant at some point in their life, because it just shows like you have so much appreciation for the staff that works there and what that experience is. So I just wanted to say that. And so for me, I don't have as colorful of a job trajectory as Vivian has had, because I was fortunate enough, or unfortunate, depending on the age I was, that my parents opened up a coffee, deli, ice cream, balloon shop. And we were very popular. It was named after me. That's the part that I was very embarrassed by for a long time.
It was wonderful.
Was it Amy's Cafe, or what was it called?
Sweet Amy's.
Sweet Amy's.
That's even better.
And it even had like my silhouette of my face on it.
I love it.
Because it was the 80s. And when I was in elementary school, it was like, whatever. I didn't really care. I just worked there. I would go in with my parents at 5 a.m. in the morning, we'd get everything going and set up. It was a very popular place. It was like before the Starbucks of the world show up. And so we would have lines out the door. It was very
That's
popular. It
great.
was
It
kind of
sounds
the
very
neighborhood.
successful.
It was very successful. Fast forward, so that was fine in middle school. When I got to high school, I wanted nobody to know that there was a restaurant named after me. And I worked there all the time and local kids would work there as well. But one day, the baseball team from my high school, the bus broke down in front of the place. And my mom ran out and was like, "Oh, come on in. My daughter goes to, the same school."
Did you die?
So she brought all the baseball team in and gave them, I was a freshman in high school, gave them ice cream while the bus was getting fixed and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, I was actually sitting at school waiting to be picked up. But my mom was too busy serving all the baseball team. And when they came back to the school while I was still sitting out there waiting to be picked up, angry. This is before cell phones, right? So you just sat there.
Where's my mom?
You just waited it out and getting angrier. They all got off the bus and they're like, sweet Amy. And I was mortified because all I wanted in high school was nobody to know this business. So
you were totally
that's
exposed.
yes, I was very exposed as a freshman in high school who, has so much vanity going on. So
well, I have two restaurant stories that I think are worthy of the tale. The first one was this wonderful, I can't remember now the name of it. It was in North Beach in San Francisco. And I walked in probably every other day saying, is there an opening? Is there an opening? Because I lived around the corner. And I thought, well, this would be perfect to pick up some shifts. And anyway, one day I was walking by and the manager ran out and said, hey, what are you doing tonight? Somebody just quit. I have an opening. I'm like, I'm there. Anyway, so that went on for a while. And so the first debacle that happened was just like I didn't know anything about ties. I knew nothing about wine. And so somebody would be like, oh, I would like, the filet of sole. I'm like, oh, let's do a Syrah with that. I was just like, I was mismatching and mispairing left, right, and center. And finally, the owner came up to me and he said, so like, you don't know anything about wine, do you? I'm like, oh, no. My mother's French. Of course I do. And anyway, thank God he didn't show me the door either. But he wound up giving a wine course at night for all of the wait staff to really teach us what goes. So we got to drink the wine and taste the wine and pair with the food. So that was actually a very wonderful thing.
Very cool.
But in that same restaurant, New Year's Eve, if you can imagine, full house. It was like some New Year's Eve package so everybody's in there, sparkles and glitter and the party noisemakers and whatever. Everything's great. And then we realized like people came in like maybe 9 o'clock and it's 10 o'clock and like their food's still nowhere to be found. So, as a wait person, you're like middle management because you're in between the manager. Like, yeah, you got to make everybody happy. I walk into the kitchen and people are flipping out because our chef is like basically lying on the floor, had way, way, way too much to drink and couldn't function. And we're like, now you try finding a replacement chef on New Year's Eve. Not gonna. We found somebody. But we had to wait for him to get there, and he was like leaving some kind of party and blah, blah, blah. So while we were waiting, the manager had this brilliant idea of pumping everybody full of drinks. And like, let the news have a great time. We had live music and like, miss, when are we going to get our food? I'm like, sometime next year, And it literally was next year when they got their food. So half the crowd got into it and they just were like partying happy and whatever. We're like giving them any snacks we can conjure up or whatever. And then the other half were like started the year kind of grumpy. So for the ones that were happy, we made very good tips, but we also lost a lot of tips. So yeah.
Vivian, I'm finding that you are so tenacious in finding these jobs.
Well, you have to remember, I was a freelance musician. You understand, we starved. There was no payroll. There was no
That's true.
And I did this I had one real job in my career for 6 weeks at New York Life Insurance. How do you like that?
Wow.
Because it was always, I did kind of crazy things. When I moved to San Francisco, I started working in daycare so I could be with my kid. And then I started this after-school music program where I was bopping around to preschools and after-school programs all over San Francisco, And then I was Miss Vivian at the library. And I for a music hour. And I would sit there with my guitar. And I think at the time I had like 250 kids songs in my brain. And that was kind of wild. So that's one of the reasons I have such a strange work track record, because you did
You're
what you
very
had to do.
entrepreneurial. Like you're out there
Yes.
always trying to find the next thing.
That is true. That is true. And so when I first came to San Francisco, I was waiting tables, doing this crazy after kids, but teaching like 100 3-year-olds music, that's a whole episode in and of itself.
That's chaos. Well, you're
But it
a
was
chaos
total
manager.
chaos. And then my poor daughter, I'd have to schlep her like from thing to thing because I had nowhere to put her. So yeah, I did that for a while. And then I went out to choirs all around San Francisco, because in the music world, there's this thing called ear training, otherwise known as solfege. And that's teaching people how to look at music and be able to like sing it and hear it upon reading it. And then there's something called sight singing. So sight singing is the ability to read music or sing music that you've never seen before. And when you sing in a choir with a bunch of other people, you're given music and you have to sing it on the spot. So I got this crazy idea, and I was like, okay, why don't I make up these flyers and go from choir to choir and teach these ear training classes? And lo and behold, I got a following because people were struggling with the reading. And then, so I wound up doing these group classes in my home, and I would charge everybody $10, but there was a group of them, so it made it worthwhile. And then there was the guy who was completely tone deaf, which means he could not carry a tune to save his life. So there was that challenge. But in doing so, one of the choir directors was like, "Oh, do you also like conduct choirs?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." No. Why is my mouth saying yes? And the next thing I knew, I was up and
Oh my God.
so to this day, I have a terrible habit of saying sure. And then my poor business partner will say things like, "Are you trying to kill me, Fleischer? You're trying to put me in the grave early?" I'm like, "Oh no, you'll see. Great, we can do it."
Sure, we could do that. Oh God, that's very
Oh
funny.
my God.
Ah,
But it's all very colorful.
I love it.
I've had a lot of jobs. Like when I think about it, I remember when I always wanted to write, which I'm now doing finally. But I remember thinking when I left college that I didn't really have any life experience. Like I didn't have anything to write about because I led this ultra sheltered, existence. By the way, 12 years of Catholic school, never learned how to read a stick of music at all. Don't understand
too.
it.
You need my
Like-
class.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you.
Isn't
And
that
I
crazy?
feel like when you just said sheltered, I'm like, given what Vivian's gone through, geez, we sure have. Like,
But I remember
There's a
thinking
lot
that I don't have
more.
anything to write about. And then at some point, one of my sisters said to me, you think that you haven't had life experience, but now, at this point I had worked a lot, and I managed an antique shop, and I worked in a yogurt shop, and I waited tables, and I worked retail, and like I had a lot of stuff. I worked in my uncle's dental lab, just basically driving around, dropping off crowns and bridges at the dentist's office, stuff like just lots of stuff. And I thought I had to suffer. Like I thought I needed to, be a short order cook in a roadside diner and work on an oil rig. I don't know what the heck, but those were the things that came to mind.
too
And my
late,
sister said, "You're actually," but my sister said, "You're actually doing that. It's not the thing. It's not the suffering that you think you should be doing,
Right.
but you are doing that." And I think that that's true now. That and let's be honest, working in tech is very weird. So that's we could do hours on just the world of working in tech all by itself. But I like those experiences. Like I said something the other day to the kids about when I was in college, a friend of mine was running the support group at a prison in San Luis Obispo where I went to college. And we worked the daycare center. We'd go there a couple of days a week, I think, and go into the prison and take the kids who were with their
That's cool.
dads
Oh, wow.
out to play and have lunch, and then I think they would hang out. We'd hang around for like 2 hours, and then take them back into the prison. And my daughter said, "I never heard that story." Like, there's lots of stuff that I've done that is
Right.
actually really kind of cool, but you
That's very
forget because
cool.
it's the life that you live, right? That's what
Right.
that's your experience. Anyway,
Well,
very funny.
going back to the restaurant, though, I actually wound up landing. So I lied. I had a real job at New York Life Insurance, and that was pure suffering. That was horrible. I was data entry. I was number 86 in Unit B. I thought I was going to die. It was horrible. The clock went
Did you have to
backwards.
take intake
awful.
calls?
You what?
Was it intake calls, like people calling in?
Data entry
All data entry.
all day
Ugh.
long. And I'd just be like,
On
would you-
what? On a computer? What was it?
I'm really going to date myself. This has to be in the 80s. Typewriter. The typewriter. I don't know what it was. It was just awful. Anyway, I blocked it out. So, but I then worked at La Creperie, Austin Street in Queens, New York. I believe
I was
it
going to
called
say,
Austin
where
Street.
was this? Queens. Okay.
And I
La
waited
Creperie
tables.
in Queens.
Creperie in Queens. And it was the end of the summer. And I thought, oh my God, I got like a music degree to do this. Like, oh my God, I'm going to jump out the window. Anyway, and I waited tables on these two gentlemen, and they were wonderful. We had a great time. And sometimes you have great rapport, and you're laughing and you're talking, and you're telling stories, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and I may have told this story maybe on our very first episode. It's possible. Anyway,
Viv,
But
I
I
think
remember-
it's still there. I'm just looking it up.
anyway, I opened the New York Times classified section. I'm really dating myself. So once upon a time, that's how you did it, not Indeed and LinkedIn and all that stuff. And I opened to P for piano, and there it was, piano, and there was a music school out in Long Island. And I called up and I started talking to one of the owners, and he said, "Well, what are you doing now?" And I said, "Oh, I'm waiting tables." He's like, "Oh, where?" And he goes, I said, "Oh, La Creperie on Austin Street." And he goes, "Oh, that's funny. We were just there this past
Oh.
Sunday." I'm like, "Wait a minute. Are you the one? Blah, blah, blah." It was him. So,
wow,
anyway,
you had your
they were-
first interview already.
so they said, "Can you come out on Monday for an interview?" I said, "Sure." It was like 500 degrees out. I didn't drive. I didn't get my driver's license, by the way, till I was 39. Just let you know that. So my mother drove
Did
me
not know
out,
that.
and it was boiling hot. And when they saw my mother in the car, and they said, "Is somebody with you?" And I said, "That's my mother." They're like, "Well, then invite her in." So my mother came with on my first real job, and this is now teaching music out of school.
and
Like,
you're in
you know,
your 20s, right?
yeah, I must be
'Cause you
like
had finished
22,
college.
23, something like that.
Yeah.
And I still can't believe my mother came with me on my very first real job interview.
But your mother was very charming, and I'm
It
sure
was
that
charming,
went
and I
very
swear
well.
they talked more to her than me, and she started telling them
Probably.
why they should hire me.
Oh my God.
God bless her.
In her French accent. I love that.
Anyway, I got the job. So that's good.
Oh.
So that was kind of wild.
It reminds me, I was waiting tables when I met my wife, and it was in Menlo Park, and Sunset Magazine was right around the corner. And I, as an English major in college, I wanted to work at Sunset really bad. And I would apply for any job that was there, but never got anything. And I used to think one of these days, a group is going to come over from the magazine, and they're going to eat lunch at the restaurant, and they're going to see that I'm just fabulous, and they're going to hire me to go to work for them.
Well, that's what happened.
Never happened. Never
We
happened.
should have
4
worked at La
years.
Creperie.
I waited for 4 years for them to discover me, and they never.
And they never
Never
did.
did.
I'm so
Very
sorry.
disappointing.
Their loss. Their loss for sure. Oh
It
my
was
God.
their loss, yes.
But the weirdest and wackiest job I ever had was being a messenger on roller skates in New York City in the summer.
Roller skates?
Roller skates.
Oh,
Which is really
In
weird
Manhattan?
because I went roller skating yesterday. I tried to go roller skating yesterday
Oh,
with my niece
Yes.
and my friend, and I stood up. I
couldn't do it.
back down and I took them off. I was like, this is not going to happen. There's going to be broken bones today if I do this. But I would run around with my girlfriend and we would like deliver
yeah. What were you delivering?
anything. I don't know. Because when you're a messenger, you're just carrying a package and they tell you go to 565
Ah.
Lexington Avenue, 30th floor. And you show up with, God knows what I was delivering, but it seemed legit.
Did you go to the 30th floor in your roller skates?
No, you
Like,
probably
how
give
did
it to
that
the
work?
lobby, to the front desk, right?
I
They
don't
wouldn't let you.
remember. I really don't remember. I have to ask my friend who did it with me. And then a lot
Yeah.
of times we took off the roller skates because we're like, we're going to die. So Manhattan, so we would just
I
walk
mean,
and
the
run.
weaving in and out of cars and everything,
Oh, we
you
did
never
the
got.
street. We did the sidewalk. But yeah, and I wasn't very good either. So most of the time they were not on my feet. So I'm sure I went up that way. And then they would yell at us because we were slower than the other ones. And we would go together, which is the thing you're not supposed to do because we would laugh.
Oh, slower. What? Slower than what? The bicyclists?
Walking.
Oh, then walk.
You were
Really?
slower than walking?
No.
Walking?
No. If I walked, I was slower than I would have been if I was on roller skates.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
So we were always behind, and then they were always yelling at us. But anyway, that was kind of a wild job.
Does that even exist anymore in New York? Are there still messengers?
Yeah, they're
I'm
on
gonna find out.
mopeds now, right? Or
I bet-
bikes?
yeah, I bet
we
you
have that in
yes.
San Francisco.
Or
I
scooters?
mean, now you can. Uber will do it for you also.
Yeah,
Oh,
in TaskRabbit.
Yeah. fantastic. Which reminds me, I'm just gonna share this because it'll make us do this. To our listeners, we have been talking about each of us working a gig job sometime in the next few months, just for a few weeks to experience it and see what it's like, and then talk about it. And so it's funny that we're talking about this because we are planning to do it.
What's funny is, sorry, AI again. Here we go. Yes, personal messenger jobs are actually still exist in New York City, though the role has evolved. While traditional street-bound bike messengers, they're not mentioning roller skates, have declined due to app-based services like Uber Direct or Relay, there is a consistent demand for internal messengers, legal couriers, and on-demand errand assistants. That's interesting. All right.
So just in case our listeners are wondering, apparently AI is the fourth member of our guru team now.
That's right. But I did tell my niece the other day, there's always a way to make money. I believe there's always a way to make money.
Yes, I think that's true.
I mean,
That is
given your colorful past, for sure, there's always a way.
So
But
I pulled a
if you can't find a job, make one up. It exists.
Yeah.
You just have to find the need, right?
But you've
And then if
also
you feel
brought
that
up
need,
you brought up something that I think is always a challenge, and sorry, Mike, but especially for women, which is you almost have to oversell yourself a little bit to get into these opportunities, right? Like you didn't know whatever about the ties and fashion, and you're not a man, whatever, but you did it. You sold out that you could do it and you figured it out. Or the restaurant selling wine that you didn't know anything. We have to always kind of elevate ourselves so that we can continue to grow in our businesses.
I'm a firm believer, not to plug a book, but
Oh.
I'm going to plug a book. Marie Forleo, who's one of my heroes, wrote something called Everything is Figure Outable. And it's so true. And she's from New Jersey. And that was her mother's line. Marie, everything is figure outable. And I believe but I really do believe in that. So
It's a great point.
you just have to go in and sometimes fake it till you make it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I won't
I
mention
think-
companies, but my oldest move I ever made. So PBE sells a platform called Ergo Ally. Ergo Ally now is a mature, fully beautiful platform, self-assessments, ergonomic training, program management. It's a big. But it didn't always exist. And I won't mention names, but I walked into a very, 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 very large, famous company with a PowerPoint. And I mocked up what it would be. And I said, basically, this is what I believe it could do for the organization. And we'll sell it to you at cost because I just wanted to get a toe in. And the guy who I showed it to said, "Oh my God, this is great." And then he sent me an email that afternoon saying, "Well, can your IT person talk to our IT person?" And I was like, "Absolutely." I said, "Absolutely." And that's when my partner, poor Andrew, said, "You're trying to kill me, Fleischer." I went on LinkedIn frantically looking for any IT person I might know. I found a guy. I'm like, "John, listen, I got to ask you the biggest favor. Please, can you just attend?" Anyway, it worked.
That's amazing.
I think that's great.
That
It's
was
always
pretty
figure outable.
gutsy. It could have very
It's
much
always
gone
figure
the other
outable.
direction.
The other thing that comes to mind, Amy, you're right. I think women have to fight a little bit harder. But I think the other thing that comes to mind, particularly in your case, Vivian, is you kind of didn't
Have to be
care.
insane.
Well, no, but like every time you failed, you just like, okay, I'm going to go do this now. Like you just moved on
Well, you know,
instead of kind of letting
paying
it
rent.
bring you down. Do you know what I
That's
mean?
true. That's true. You know, I told you, my team calls me the pathological optimist because there is something pathological about this mindset.
Well, you're the reason we have a podcast because you kept saying we should do a podcast. We should just do
See,
that.
why not?
And
I mean, when I was another job. I was teaching in my daughter's school. So she went to this little beautiful school in San Francisco, and I walked in there and I met their music teacher. I'm like, why is she teaching here? I should be teaching here. And then she wound up leaving the next year. So I went into the principal's office and I was like, hey, can I teach music here? And he said, sure. Anyway, over the years, the kids started asking me if we could do an after-school musical theater program.
oh God, oh
Sure,
no.
why not? And so we did. And anyway, so yeah, there's a little bit of nuttiness, I will admit. But
You know,
you're
love
right.
it.
My feeling is this: if you fail, I don't look at it as failure. I just feel
Yeah.
like, okay, if it wasn't meant to be, it won't be, and then try the next time.
But I feel like you keep finding these like opportunities or issues, like, and then you it's so great. I love it.
Well, I think PBE was started because of that.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
what ergonomics was, except my piano students were all injured. I was like, what's going on with you during the day? I was like, oh, let's go to your office. I don't know. One thing led to another. I have a
Well,
big mouth.
I find
You're
that
very
I'm doing a
entrepreneurial.
little. It is very, yeah. I find that I'm doing a little of that myself because I like to be busy now and I have freedom. So Saturday we went to a wine tasting in a winery very near here, and it's 2 miles away. And I like was trying not to be overly aggressive, but I basically said to them, if you need someone to come up here and work the tastings on Saturdays, I would love to do that. Like you have my
Absolutely.
number, right? You have my email, right? Like you have it,
And
And-
then you have to go back a few times now. Be like, hi,
Yes.
do you need me
And
yet?
then we have neighbors who run a tutoring company here in the neighborhood. And I said to them this morning, I just ran into them out there because they were weeding and I was on my walk. And I said, hey, are you ever looking for anybody to tutor like English or writing or whatever? Because I'd be interested. Like I'm just throwing stuff out there to see what
Why
sticks.
not? Like, what
And
do
it's
you
kind
have
of fun
to
to
lose?
do.
Nothing. And
Yes,
so I
right.
just went
Nothing
through
to-
this. My poor niece is now the beneficiary of my insanity. So she got called to do a project for somebody, this media project. And in that project, she said, oh, I really need somebody to develop my website. And I happened to be next to her while she was taking this call. I'm like, say yes. So she did. And anyway, long story short, she got off the phone panic stricken. She's like, why did you tell me to say yes? I'm like, because in the next 48 hours, you were going to figure out how to make websites. And she did. God
That's
bless her.
amazing.
I'm like, you can figure out anything now. I swear to you. You have like all the resources. I think now it's easier than ever. So anyway.
I think that's true. And, we've touched on AI a couple times. Like I start now to think about how an AI tool can help me. Like I don't know how to write a proposal for a consulting gig.
Yes, you do.
So I
Juan does.
made an AI tool to like, okay, I can do that, and then I correct it. And then I send it to a couple of friends and say, does this look okay to you? Like, whatever you have to do. But I think there's just like, it's a little nervy. Like you just got to stick your neck out and maybe it will stick,
Now you also have to be a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, which I am. But it I don't know. I mean, yeah, the worst thing that can happen is you have egg on your face. And like, so what?
But you just said something that you never have looked at any of these as failure. And that to me is such a great attitude to go into it, right? You're going to go out there, you're going to try. Maybe you'll be successful, maybe you won't. And then you learn from it and you move on to the next.
Yeah.
You're very inspiring, Vivian.
Well, that's good.
If I was to
That's
go
good.
over and do life again, I'd try to go your direction and try to do that.
Well,
I like the
But
safety
you're,
net.
It
but
ain't
Amy,
over.
I
you're
love
very
safety.
consistent. You're very
Consistent.
consistent and dependable. Like it's all
Yes.
like you're doing your thing, and like that's
like
one of the things
this,
that
and Vivian's like, woo!
But it drives my team
it's
crazy.
one of the things
They
that
call
we
it the
love
Vivi
about you.
Vortex.
I
There's a name for this. And God bless my team. They're ordered and structured, which is a beautiful thing. 'cause
you
I'm
you
just
would
like,
need that,
"Woo!"
right?
You what?
That you need that.
I can be ordered and structured, but that's not my first
No, it's great.
strength.
I think it's
I
wonderful.
definitely
Embrace it.
did not know that about you for the early years that I knew you. You like, because you're the co-CEO, like you are in it. You do great presentations, but as we became friends, I thought, oh, okay, this is
Nuts.
she's yeah, in a good way. In a good way.
Well, that's good.
I do think that's the balance. Like Amy, you're the structured,
steady and calm.
steady, yeah. And then Vivian's over here, like,
But
and
I
think I'm somewhere in
you're
the
somewhere
middle.
in the middle.
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
But I will leave you with this, unless you want to. You have some more stories, but it can backfire. So there I was, also after college, selling water filters. Selling water filters in a multi-level pyramid thing, where I did recruit people under my team to whatever. But I also sold the water filters, and I went to my friend's father's house, which was a very beautiful house, by the way. And I, for whatever reason, said, "Sure, I can install your water filter." And 10 minutes later, a geyser. And I think he was friends with the Thai store guy. I was like, "It's okay. I got it from here." And so I kind of blew up his kitchen and destroyed his pipes. That was not a good thing. And thank God it was the father of a friend, because he was very, very generous and kind about it, and even paid me for the water filter.
Wow.
God bless him. But anyway, so there's a downside to this.
There is. I have one more funny one to tell.
Go.
I was waiting tables, and a friend of mine, you were talking about like pyramid schemes and drawing people in, a friend of mine went to work for a yogurt shop. It was a franchise. And I remember going there and talking to like the franchise, or the people from the corporate who were kind of training you. And they said, well, this organization doesn't exist anymore. But anyway, there's going to be a mix up in the frozen yogurt market, and we're going to come out on top. We're going to be the winners. Like, they were very sure of it, and they just made a big deal out of it. Is there? I haven't seen a frozen yogurt shop, and I don't even know if they exist anymore. Anyway.
Oh yes, they do.
I got
regularly.
sucked in.
I think they do.
Yeah, I got sucked into this, and so my friend, she was managing one store, and I was managing another in a mall of all places.
Oh, I love it.
Where I got to meet all the mall walkers at 7:00 in the morning.
Oh yeah,
here's the thing about yogurt. So you have to learn how to swirl the cup so that you get the right, like there's all kinds of craziness. And the thing about this job that just was a killer was you had to clean the machines twice a week in the middle of the night. Because then the yogurt had to,
flow,
freeze, and it was better to do it at night in case something went wrong than try to do it really early in the morning. So here's me and a bunch of teenagers cleaning these machines and then refilling them with some hideous smelling yogurt mix, whatever. And I remember thinking, why am I doing this? Like, what was I thinking? I'm in this mall serving yogurt to all these, like, it was just by far the worst thing I ever did. Right after that, I left and I went to work at an antique store for 3 years, which was really, really fun for me. And I loved that. But yogurt, I mean, yeah, no. And I don't really care if I ever see a cup of yogurt again in my life. Like, I just,
oh my God, I love it. I love it. But there you have it.
There it is.
We hope we've entertained you today. Jobs. Yeah. Maybe you should share with us what your crazy, wild, or weird job has been. Put it up in the chat. We'd love to hear about it. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.